One wrong stop at a gas station, grocery store, or restaurant could turn your legal carry into a criminal charge this year. And if you're still using last year's rules, you could walk into the wrong place thinking you're protected when you're not. Pause. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed? Because what I'm about to break down could save you from a life-changing legal mistake. Hit that button now because these 7 updates could affect where you carry, how you travel, and whether your permit even helps you at all. All right, let's start with the first update, and this one is huge. The first thing you need to watch is the Federal Concealed Carry Reciprocity Bill. In plain English, this bill would make it easier for a person who can legally carry in one state to carry in another state that allows concealed carry for its own residents. Sounds simple, right? Most people hear that and think, great, one rule for the whole country. But hold on, that is not what we have right now. Here's what just happened. The bill moved forward in the House process, but it is still not law. And that matters because a lot of gun owners are acting like nationwide carry has already arrived. It has not. If you cross a state line today, you still need to follow the law of the state you enter. Let me explain why this matters in real life. Imagine you live in a carry-friendly state. You drive 2 hours for a weekend trip. You stop for gas, you grab coffee, you walk into a store. In your mind, nothing changed. You are the same person, with the same gun, in the same holster. But legally, everything may have changed the second you crossed that border. And here's the part nobody talks about enough. Even if a state recognizes your permit, that does not mean it recognizes your habits. Your home state may allow carry in more places than the state you visit. So you might be legal on the highway, then illegal the second you step into a posted business, a park, a government building, or a place that serves alcohol. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The second update is another federal bill, and this one goes even farther. It's called the National Constitutional Carry Act. If it ever became law, it could remove permit requirements for concealed carry at the federal level. Now, that sounds like a dream for some people, but here's the truth. As of right now, it is still just a bill. It is not law, not even close to something you can rely on during your next traffic stop. Most people think these 2 federal bills mean the map is about to get easier. Maybe someday. But today, the map is still messy. And that leads to the third update, which might be the most dangerous trap of all. If you live in a permitless carry state, you may think that makes travel easier. A lot of people believe, my state lets me carry without a permit, so I'm good. No, that is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Some states honor permits from other states. But if you come from a permitless state and you do not actually have a physical permit, you may have less protection when you travel, not more. Think about that for a second. The law in your home state may let you carry with no permit. But another state may want proof, a real permit, something an officer can check. If you do not have it, you could be standing on the side of the road trying to explain a right that the other state does not recognize the same way. That is not where you want to be. Here's what most people get wrong. They study their gun, they study their gear, they study self-defense videos, but they never study the law of the place they're driving into. And in 2026, that mistake can cost you fast. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video about the 5 words that can protect you when police start asking questions about your gun. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. Now let's get to update number 4, because this one could affect something as normal as buying milk or pumping gas. The Supreme Court is looking at a case out of Hawaii called Wolford versus Lopez. Here's the simple version. Hawaii has a rule that says even licensed carriers cannot bring a gun onto private property open to the public unless the owner gives clear permission. So think about places like stores, gas stations, and shops. If the owner is silent, the state says the answer is basically no. Let me break this down for you. Under that kind of rule, silence does not help you. No sign saying no guns is not the same as permission. That means a regular person could walk into a business with no bad intent at all and still end up accused of breaking the law just because the owner never said yes. That is why this case matters so much. It is not about some rare edge case. It is about everyday carry in everyday places. And here's the crazy part. The challengers argued that this kind of rule makes normal public life almost impossible for a legal carrier. Because what are you supposed to do? Ask every gas station clerk, every store employee, every person behind every counter. If you forget once, or assume silence means okay, you may be wrong. A decision is expected this year. So this is not some far-off issue. This could become one of the biggest carry rulings of the year. Now, quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. And that leads right into update number 5, which is the split happening in other courts over sensitive places and private property rules. Maryland just had a major court ruling in January. The Fourth Circuit upheld most of Maryland's carry bans in places like schools, parks, healthcare facilities, mass transit, museums, stadiums, and places serving alcohol for on-site drinking. So if you carry daily, think about how many normal life stops are on that list. A park walk, a doctor visit, a train ride, a game, dinner out. This is why I keep saying everyday carry is now just as much about location law as it is about the gun itself. But wait, there's something even more important. In that same ruling, the court said Maryland's rule for private property open to the public went too far. In other words, the court mostly backed the state on many restricted places, but pushed back when the state tried to say private businesses are automatically off limits unless they give express permission. Why does that matter? Because now you have different courts looking at similar carry questions and not landing in the exact same place. And when courts split like that, more people get confused, more states test new rules, and regular carriers are the ones stuck trying to guess what applies where. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this. Imagine you drive through two states on the same weekend. In one state, carry in a grocery store might be treated as okay unless posted. In another, the rule could be flipped, and silence means no. Same carrier, same gun, same behavior, totally different risk. That is the part that shocked me when I first saw these cases stacking up. We are no longer just asking, can you carry? The real question is, exactly where, under whose rule, and under what kind of property status? Hey, 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be part of that group. Join the gun owners who stay ahead of these legal changes instead of hearing about them after a problem starts. Click subscribe right now. All right, update number 6 is one that could hit you even if you never leave your home state. Massachusetts now has major firearm training and licensing changes taking effect in 2026. Starting April 2, the state's updated safety course rules kick in. And one of the biggest pieces is live fire training. That means for certain applicants and renewals, classroom-only instruction is no longer enough. Let me explain why this matters. A lot of gun owners think once they get licensed, the hard part is over. But in some states, keeping your carry rights can become a second battle. If your renewal comes up and the law changed underneath you, you may suddenly need new training, new paperwork, and new timing. Here's what most people miss. A license problem is not always about being denied forever. Sometimes it is about delay. And delay can be a big deal. If your renewal gets stuck because you did not understand the new requirement, you may find yourself unable to legally carry while trying to fix a problem you never saw coming. And there is another detail that matters. Massachusetts also makes clear that applicants have to apply where they live, not just where they own a business. That might sound like a small rule, but small rules are exactly what trip people up. So if you live in a state changing training standards, do not wait until your permit is about to expire. Check now, ask now, fix now. Because once the deadline passes, you are no longer planning ahead. You're scrambling. Now let's get to update number 7. This one shows how fast state rules are moving in opposite directions at the same time. In at least 6 states this year, lawmakers have been pushing changes on college campus carry. States like Florida, Louisiana, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Utah, and Wyoming have all seen major proposals or action. Some would allow more people to carry on campus. Some would change whether a permit is required. Some would expand carry for staff or visitors. And some would tighten one kind of carry while allowing another. Wyoming is a good example of how specific this gets. Lawmakers there approved a measure that lowers the minimum age for a concealed carry permit from 21 to 18, with the law taking effect in July. That may sound narrow, but it is not narrow if you're 19, if your kid is 19, or if you are a parent trying to understand what carry looks like on or around a college campus. Utah is another example. Lawmakers passed a bill that would ban open carry on campus while still allowing eligible people to carry concealed without a permit if signed. Do you see the pattern? One state expands, another state relabels, another changes age, another changes method. And the average person is supposed to keep all of this straight while just trying to go to class, pick up a family member, or park on university property. And here's a bonus warning inside this last update. Arizona is also debating a bill that would change restaurant carry rules. The proposal would make it easier for a permitted person to carry a concealed handgun in certain restaurants, as long as that person is not drinking. As of now, that is still a proposal, not a rule you can blindly trust. But it shows you where the trend is going. More states are fighting over places you actually go every week, not just rare, sensitive place examples. That is why I made this video. Because the most dangerous carry mistake is not being reckless. It is being normal. It is doing what you always do, on the route you always drive, into the store you always enter, under a law that quietly changed. This information could literally expire as courts rule and states rewrite the map. Subscribe now, because the next video is going to cover exactly how to check a carry law before you leave the house, so you do not learn the hard way after a stop, a search, or a charge. So here's the big takeaway. In 2026, the fight is not just about whether you can carry, it is about where you can carry, whether your permit means anything across state lines, and whether new training or location rules can shut you down before you even realize it. Don't make the mistake of assuming freedom in one place means freedom everywhere. Pause. If this video helped you think more clearly about your everyday carry, subscribe and stay with this channel. I spent hours digging through this stuff so you don't have to, and I want to help you stay armed, informed, and out of trouble. And one last simple reminder, laws change fast, local facts matter, and this video is for education only. Before you carry based on anything you heard today, check your state law and talk to a qualified attorney if you need legal advice.